as hard as it is, but living abroad makes everything exponentially difficult. For example, I had to start learning Chinese about the same time I left Korea, so about 5 years ago, since I was moving to a country that spoke Chinese. But ironically, I still can't have a full conversation in Chinese. Sure, I know how to say things like hello, thank you, and I don't know. But when I go out in public, I still say 听不懂 more times than I say 你好. Anyways, living in a foreign country is a big deal. Your ego is going to get hurt. People will come and go, and you'll question what you're doing with your life more than once. But when you look back, there will be so many valuable memories that can't be emulated. I'm 14 years old, and while I like to think that I know it all, I don't. But I do have some experience. Let us go back to 2017, a year when everyone was infatuated with fidget spinners or Starbucks unicorn frappuccinos. It feels like yesterday, but for me, that's already been like a third of my life. It was in 2017 when I got accepted into my very first international school in Singapore. But the thing was, there was a sea of blonde hair and blue eyes, and I was the only odd one out. My broken English only exacerbated the situation. Imagine trying to Google Translate a text written in Korean to Russian to Japanese and then to English and trying to comprehend what it originally meant. Fortunately for me, the friends I made here were kind-hearted people, but some of my classmates did make some jokes that stung. One day, my mom packed me kimmari, which is essentially a deep-fried seaweed roll. I'll admit it doesn't look the most appetizing, and I'm personally not a big fan of it. But it's a really popular side dish to pair with tteokbokki, which is another staple Korean dessert dish. Anyways, I was eating it, and then this girl comes up to me, and she says something along the lines of, "Ew, gross, why would you eat that? That looks like cow intestines." First off, why did she have to be so specific? Anyways, I was shocked. This was the first time little 8-year-old Rebecca encountered someone who despised kimmari so much. But joke's on her, because I also ate cow intestines before. Despite my discombobulated English, among other inconveniences, I still managed to achieve some milestones in the early stages of my academic endeavor. For example, I was the first Asian student to give a presentation in an assembly, and I also initiated a project on building confidence. But these were only my public successes. On the inside, I was always petrified. Every day, I laid in bed, coming up with all these wild scenarios on how I could make a fool out of myself. I couldn't keep up in class, and most importantly, I had a terrible sense of humor. I had many doubts about why I was placed in such a preposterous country where they didn't even let people chew gum. I still vividly remember the look in my parents' eyes when I told them I had no desire to pursue international education. But when I look back, I have so many valuable memories that I can't emulate, and I want to sincerely thank them for the opportunities that I had. I noticed that my family has a tendency to move countries once in an every 3-year interval. From Singapore, I moved to Malaysia, and I got accepted into the British International School of Kuala Lumpur, and I was ecstatic. The reason for my exuberance? Their school uniforms were top-notch. Less superficially, the friends I made there were also top-notch. My English did improve substantially, but I was still very unmotivated. The turning point in my academic performance was when I entered secondary school. One day, my mom sat me down for a serious talk about my future, and the idea of college really started to dawn on me. With a newfound passion for what was possible, I was ready to achieve the highest marks on PSAT, SAT, get accepted into an Ivy League school with a scholarship, get a bachelor's degree and a PhD, and start my own company. And then COVID hit. Malaysia, among many other countries, were engulfed in a global dismay. My country, and my school, like yours probably, immediately converted to online learning, and I had to find an alternative plan to flaunt my non-existent attributes pronto. But I was never a technology-savvy person, so even getting used to Zoom took me an excruciatingly long time. Fortunately for me, though, I got a chance to stand in the limelight towards the end of 6th grade, when I was nominated to represent my school in the NASA STEAM Festival, which was basically like Elon Musk meets Einstein. It was a 2-day-long event joined by North Anglia schools from all over Southeast Asia, focused on collaborating with our peers to create a presentation on Mars colonization and settlement. This was the greatest highlight of my time in British International School, despite having been taking place in an unprecedented tumult. In 2021, me and my mom moved to China to reunite with my dad. Everything kind of happened on a whim. I knew I wasn't going to stay in Malaysia forever, but the COVID pandemic made traveling nearly impossible, and the sense of uncertainty didn't help anything either. I joined Boston International School in the latter half of 2021 with the fervor to accomplish everything that I couldn't accomplish while online in Malaysia. And so far, I'm quite content with my progress. I have friends who can challenge me to step out of my comfort zone and opportunities to strengthen my assets. Recently, I participated in the World Scholars Cup, which was an immense honor, and now I'm delivering this TED Talk. The point that I'm trying to assert is this: you shouldn't be morose even when things don't go as planned, because nothing's perfect and nothing goes exactly as planned. Why should we try to force that agenda onto something we can't even control? It all comes back to whether you decide to persevere or not in the face of challenges. But it's okay if you choose not to sometimes. Nothing's perfect, nobody's perfect, and perseverance takes bravery and willingness that can be overwhelming. But you should always get back on track with resilience. Life is not long enough to be wasted dwelling on a single issue. I would like to share a lyric from a song I came across not too long ago. Colorless rain eventually paints a rainbow. Your perseverance will pay off as long as you don't give up. Thank you.